question 4 is a question which asks you to reduce the minimum completion time, and they've given you a certain number of activities that can be reduced and the cost involved. They've also told you that they can be reduced by a maximum of 2 weeks each, and now you've got to find the minimum cost involved in this reduction, and maximum you can reduce it from 19 weeks to 16 weeks. So let's look at the diagram again, and what I've done is done a forward and a backward scan. I've indicated the forward scan in green and the backward scan in purple. And now I've also highlighted those activities which can be reduced. So if you look at the places where choices have been made, that is where reductions also are possible. Okay, so we start first with the this one. So this is 5 here at the end here, and along A it's 6. There's a difference of 1, and so we can reduce A by 1. If we make this 5, then that will give us 5 over here, and that will change this earliest start time to 5. Then we go along D. 5 plus 3 will be 8. Along G, 8 plus 4 will be 12. Now if we come along, so we have to check and see if we can get it to 12 along the other edge as well, because it's no use reducing less than 12, because then we'll still choose 12, because D and G are not reducible activities. So if we move along E and we add 5 plus 5, we get 10 here, and 10 along H, 10 plus 2 is 12. So as both are 12, this particular choice becomes 12. Now if we move along I, 10 plus 2 gives you 12. Let's go along F, because there's a choice that has to be made here as well, which will impact the final choice here. So this is still 3. 3 plus 5 is 8, similar to the previous 8. And if we come down along J, 10 plus 3 is 13. So that's changed, and that now is 13. Now 13 plus 3 is 16. We do know that the maximum it can be reduced, the minimum it can be reduced is to 16 weeks. Okay, so we won't do any reductions along that path. Now in order to choose along the other edge, we have to come down along L. So 12 plus 5 is currently 17 without any reductions. And if the choice is between 17 and 12, we will choose 17. But what we want is that this value here plus the 1 over here should be equal to 16. So we won't do anything with this 12 because it's already less than 16, that any value, sorry, not 16. So because I is not a reducible activity, so we really can't change that. Whereas if we want this value to be 15, that means this should be 15. And 15 plus 1 will make it 16 at the end of M. Now in order to get that to be 15 here, what is it that we can add to 12 to get 15? So 12 plus 3 is 15. So we change this to 3. We reduce L by 2 and we get 15 here. That causes this option to become 15, and 15 plus 1 along M makes this 16. and 16 is the answer. So if we look at the different reductions made, we reduced A by 1 and we reduced L by 2, and those are the only two reductions. So this one multiplies by 140,000 and this one multiplies by 120,000, and if we add them both, so this is times 2 and that's times 1, we get $380,000, sorry. So that's one way, which is a targeted approach of doing it. The other structured way of doing it is laying out all the different paths. We know that it should get down to 16 weeks according to the question. Highlighting on each of the paths all the activities that can be reduced, that is A, E, F, L, and K, and adding the original duration along each of these paths. Okay, so A to D, D to G, G to L, and L to M added gives me 19. And so I've gone along each of the paths. Now you should do that systematically, or the chances of you missing a path is possible. So you know the critical path is the largest value, so that is 19 here. And what we should try and do is reduce the critical path such that the duration reduces to 16 weeks. Now, I checked out and saw which activities were common between them, and I found A to be common between these two paths. And then I thought, okay, let me reduce A by 1. And so that brings 19 down to 18. This is 18. And the first four paths, the A exists. So 14 to 13, 16 to 15, and the others remain the same. The largest value is still 18. And then I looked at it again and I thought, what is the other path that can be reduced? Or the other, so L seems common between this one and these two. I didn't choose A because A is not common with the third path, okay? And I started to reduce L. I got 17, 17, and 17 along those three paths, which was the largest value. Now I know I have to bring it down to 16. So I said, okay, we can reduce an activity by 2 weeks. And L was the only common activity. And when I reduced it, I got 16. So the original critical paths were critical paths again. And that told me that I can reduce A by 1 and L by 2, and we get the same answer. Requires a bit of practice and systematic working. You can choose either of the two methods depending on how you think. So practice it a little and you should be able to master it. Thank you. Bye.